Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Friday Live, March 5th. And today we have Lindsey Wander with us. Yay! She was featured on this week's episode. And Lindsey is incredible. We know that. But we're so glad that you all know that now because so many of you have taken the time to listen, download the episode, you watch the YouTube video. Not only is she stunning, but she's brilliant. So she's here with us today. And you guys have sent in just some really fun questions that you have for Lindsey. But before we get to that, for those of you who haven't listened to the episode yet, some of the topics that we covered in this episode, we talk about why trusting your intuition is a vital part of being a business owner. Super, super key there. We also talk about how to balance business and teaching your kids so that neither of you get the short end of the stick. That's a huge one. We also discuss tips for staying resilient, which Miss Lindsey Wander totally is as a business owner, especially during COVID-19. We talked also about the power of asking your customers what they need, not just guessing, but really, like, what do they need? You can ask them. And the strategies for building a team designed to scale your business and a whole lot more. So highly encourage you check it out. This episode was so much fun to do. What was your favorite part, Rory? What did you like about this episode?
Well, maybe we should talk about the title of the episode, which was Online Tutoring for Kids, a Business Owner's Survival Guide.
Yeah.
And that's because Lindsey, you own a tutoring company that specializes in helping kids. And the reason it's a business owner's survival guide is because it's designed to help us business owners who are stuck at home with our kids. And, you know, some of our kids just need that extra help with their schooling now that we don't have, you know, we're essentially the teachers.
Yeah, we're it, right? So I think as parents, Rory and I can definitely, like, we just get really excited about this stuff. It's like, oh, help, thanks. Right. This was fun for us. Yeah.
So Lindsey, for the people who don't know, maybe you can talk a little bit about yourself and what it is you do.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely living my dreams, so that's a plus. And I really have found myself in a position where I'm helping others to do the same, and particularly students, and even more particularly, most often children, which is really fun. So helping them to figure out, you know, what is their unique voice, what are their personal passions and interests, and, you know, what steps and skills do you need to get to those dreams that you have has been a really fun adventure. I kind of feel like it's like a ripple effect. You know, you throw something in a pond and then it kind of ripples out. So I think, okay, I'm working with this one kid, and then you think about what happens in their family and in their future and so on. And just speaking from my own life, you know, finding something that I love, that I wake up every day excited to do, that challenges me, that rewards me, and that I can also live off of, make a living off of. It's just such a great feeling that I want everyone else to experience that. And I think that a lot of kids especially are well-meaningly labeled or kind of guided down certain paths that might not entirely be their own or be accurate. And so I really like being the one to step in and help them figure out, you know, what do you really want? What are you good at? And what do we need to know to get to that point? So the company has a lot of that, but we also, you know, work on the deeper skills, because at the end of the day, success in any field requires more than just memorizing formulas, you know, or passing a test. And so we really also set them up for success. Once we've labeled kind of where we're going, we also want to make sure they have the skills to get there.
Absolutely. I love that piece of the podcast where we focused on the mindset. And I even said, like, I wish I had you. Being an IEP student and needing tutors and the after school programs and all of that, it hit home for me. And I know there's so many others out there that could really use the support, especially now. So that leads me to my first question, if I may. All right. So coming from Instagram, someone is asking, how might I know when my child is ready for tutoring? Is there a clear distinction when it's time?
It's a good question. I get a lot of people who, even friends, who are like, when should I start tutoring? I would say the natural progression of a child in finding their identity involves a phase where they don't want to listen to mom and dad. And they start to think you don't know what you're talking about, and they're really testing their limits there. It's just a natural part of them finding their independence. I think once you hit the point where they're just not listening to you, or you hit a point where the subject matter is something you haven't seen since you were their age, and you just can't help them anymore, that would be a good time to call in someone else. Otherwise, I really do encourage parents to use a lot of the strategies we use in terms of communication and opportunities you present to your child to maintain that relationship, to try to facilitate their learning as much as possible in the home on your own. But naturally, they're just going to either hit a subject or a phase in their life where you're going to go, I'm done. And that's when you call in someone else, and we are kind of like the mediator. Handling it so you can have a more peaceful home.
Brilliant. Love it. All right. Next question is, what makes WorldWise Tutoring different from other tutoring companies? Okay, I feel like you've already talked about that quite a bit.
Well, I guess I can just wrap it up with, we work on things that other tutoring companies and often schools won't even touch. We get into a lot of the emotion, a lot of the mindset, a lot of the deeper learning that's happening, really trying to figure out how do they learn, not just what are they learning, and personalizing it for that student so that those strategies can be used across all curricula. So rather than sitting there and doing homework with them or going over test questions, our goal is to wean them off of tutoring. We know we're doing a good job when after a few months, it's like, I kind of want to try this on my own for a few weeks. Great. We want them to be independent and to have us there when they do hit other hits. I mean, we're not like, bye, but to know that they have the power to handle the learning on their own for the most part.
Yeah, to help them fly, be a part of the world.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, ready for another? I'm firing at you. You good?
Do it. I'm taking it. I love questions. I'd be in the wrong job if I didn't like questions. So
right?
Bring them on.
Very true. All right. This one says, are you currently hiring new tutors? After watching the episode, you seem like you would be the world's best boss. Oh.
What's really funny about that is I've never wanted to be a boss. I don't like being told what to do, so I don't like telling other people what to do. A really strange side effect of this has been that my tutors are just so happy, and I get feedback from them constantly about like the resources I've given them or the things I've taught them and how they've even applied that to their own life. If I can do kids, why am I not doing this in my life? And it's been a really side effect that I didn't really anticipate. I am still warned. I'm very, very picky about my tutors because it's not just about the subjects. It also, you have to have, again, the right mindset. There has to be a passion there. And, that's really what I try to push with my students as well. It's not just your resume and your test scores and your grades. There has to be someone behind all that. So I dig pretty deep and have quite a process. And legally, I can only hire them in Illinois and Texas. So that's a little roadblock. Currently, that's the only places where my business is, even though we work with students all over the world. That is right now, just to stay in compliance with some things, where I'm keeping my tutors located. But if someone's interested, they are welcome to go to WorldWise Tutoring. I also have a nonprofit called Educate, Radiate, Elevate that's looking for tutors. In both locations, there is places where you can apply to be a tutor and what that process looks like.
That's excellent. I'm glad you just talked about I'm sorry, you said educate,
radiate,
elevate. Thank you. Because another question came through about that said, is that a nonprofit, or what is that part of the business about? What does that involve?
So it's actually not part of the business. The IRS likes you to keep everything very separate, especially when you have a nonprofit. So it's a totally separate business. I now am really an entrepreneur. I have 2 businesses. Oh my gosh, like I finally embraced that term.
Well
I
done.
have two businesses, and one is a for-profit, one's a nonprofit. So yes, Educate, Radiate, Elevate is a nonprofit. We're giving the same high-quality tutoring, but just to K through 12 students that are low income and BIPOC and are in Illinois and Texas.
Wow.
It will potentially spread, but this is kind of where we are right now, just getting things off the ground. And I am looking for students for that, looking for tutors, looking for people who want to partner, people who want to donate. The website's educateradiateelevate.org, or if that's hard, which it is, you could do eretutoring.org and it'll take you to the same place.
Awesome. Oh my gosh. Well, this has been just so fun. This was a fantastic episode. Your knowledge is just so abundant, and we just appreciate you so much for taking the time and for sharing your story. For those of you who don't know the full story, you've got to listen to the episode because it's amazing. Her background is just, you'll be like, wait, what? Talk about a pivot in a really fun way.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, thank you very much. Is there anything else, Rory, you wanted to mention?
Check out the episode if you haven't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
It doesn't say much, but when he says it, it's drop and go gold. Drop.
Rory's all gold. We know it. You guys know it. All right, Lindsey, thank you so much for your time. That's it for this week. We'll see you guys next week. Bye.